Shalom, Koram Lee Anthony, Baruch Haba. Hello, welcome to Sarid. My name is Anthony. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have not already subscribed, please do so and hit the little notification bell icon at the bottom. In this part of the Adut, as we begin, we like to always give all praise, honor, and esteem to Yahuwah Elohim and to his Ben Adonai Yahushua, who has come along with us on this journey. So thankful for the abundance of everything that we have through him. Hallel Yahuwah, Torah Rabbah. To the Kodashim out there, I want to thank you for your comments and for your support. And the counting of the Omer here in the 6th week. Of course, we know this is a time when kings go out to war. And as with any war, there are casualties. And there was great mourning in this part of the Adut, as the tribe of Yehuda did mourn for the dead and the dying. Of course, the people are still trying to figure out why these things have come upon them now. Because in a very short period of time, their whole world was turned upside down. They benefited from the wealth of a prosperous nation during the time of Madai and Peres. And they worshiped and followed the customs of the land. Yet when chaos struck, they did not discern the times, nor did they understand the word of Elohim. And they were losing the war because of it. They were unsure and visibly cautious because of uncertainty. And they ventured out because of restlessness, weeping, wailing, crying about things that were taken from them. And yet, this was just a quiet before the storm. Let's jump right in there. Devarim chapter 28:52. We'll be looking at Vayikra chapter 23:20. And over at a star, we'll be looking at chapter 4, verse 3, as they line up. Yahuwah declares his word to Bnei Yisrael in the wilderness concerning this time of counting the Omer and the curses that were going to befall the people. In Devarim, he declares, they shall besiege you at all your gates. They. That word for besiege is sarar, and it means to enclose, to show hostility to, and treat as a foe. The people are under oppression here. It means to be shut in. You can't go outside. It means to be in straits. How do I pay my bills? How do I get the necessities that I need? To be bound and tied up is the definition there. You're in the emergency room on a ventilator now. It means to be vexed. This word besiege there. Sa'ar. So all you're going to hear about is the siege now. You're vexed. Coronavirus is the siege in our days. Back in the time of a star, it was those letters that Haman wrote. The magnificence of those letters threatened all of life. All of life. Because if the Yahudim don't make it, nobody does. All of life comes into play here. They besiege you at all of your gates. Sha'ar. Sha'ar, that word there, H8176, is a meeting place for gathering and reckoning. This can be any meeting place used for reasoning out. Reasoning out usually concerning scripture or some righteousness or unrighteousness. any place of religious worship or where law is practiced. Any place that brings into practice words of reasoning out concerning life after death or civil duties in a society. A meeting place, city, town, building, these types of places. These are gates, places of understanding. It's going to be a siege there. And the Cohen shall wave them with the bread of the Bekor. The Cohen shall wave them with the bread of the Bekor. The Cohen, the principal officer or the chief ruler, the mediator, the reader of this edut is a Cohen, shall wave them. That word for wave there is H5130. It's nup. It means to move to and fro, to wave. It's used here to shake or brandish against, and to wave abroad in a threat. So there's going to be some threatening here with this wave. Going to wave them. Well, who is them? Who is them? Them is they in the word Devarim. They shall besiege you. The ones who are doing the besieging, the ones who are the reasoning for the oppression that we face here. They, the ones in Devarim. Every religion on this planet that exalts itself against the knowledge of Elohim. They, the ones who are speaking contrary to the word of Yahuwah Elohim and what he has established to be done in society for the benefit of mankind, and most importantly, the saving of the soul, for the esteem of his Ben Adonai Yahushua HaMashiach. What they are waving during the time of a star is the bad news of death written in Haman's letters. They represent world religion as we know it today. They killing everybody that believes in it. Spiritually, they're done with. They hold the mantle of Haman now. With the doctrine, they letters have been copied from Scripture. They creed, they statement of faith, and they all have one. They are the reason, as I mentioned, for the pandemic. Them people over in Devarim there. With the bread of the Bikar. That word there for bread was to fight. It means to engage in a battle. It means a war. It's a war now. It's what the counting of the Omer is all about. It is a gathering of the believers at an appointed time. The bread there was not only bread that you eat, but the verb means to engage in war. So there's some war here that the Kohen has to talk about. So I'm going to talk about the Bekor. It was the Bekor. The word there, is first fruits. It is the first of the fruit that ripen, the firstborn. Adonai Yahushua is the firstborn from the grave. World religion is trying to make us believe it was somebody called Jesus. That's another name, and that would insinuate another person. And so this is the problem now, because everybody has changed the name. We're talking about all these different people, and war has broken out in the Shemayim. There's some war in the waters now. People aren't getting through. If you're reading the story concerning what happened to Pharaoh and his army, they didn't get through those waters. There's some more waters that we have to cross through to get to the other side of everlasting life. Some problems in the water here now. There's war. Death is all around us now. And as it was in the story of a star, so it is now. As I am speaking to you, these things are happening all over the world. I tell you, it's because this edut is being revealed to the world for the first time in history. And if you are not praying to Yahuwah Elohim, I'm here to warn you, there is a severe judgment, and there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Therefore, whoever has an ear, Let him hear what the Ruach is saying. The wrath of Elohim has been awakened, and death will come during this wave like never before in history. Shall wave them. They have been waved now. And in every province. So there's some more waving here. In every province. That word there for province was H4082. It is Medina. It is a district, a place of judgment. So we're talking here about Christian churches, Muslim mosques, Hindu shrines, and Jewish synagogues, the courthouse, and any other place that offers a means to get into the king's gate. Yeah, the courthouse. In case you haven't heard, there's a death penalty where they literally send you into the presence of the king. And they have people there praying too. They promote evil, hospitals, and science. Science can't figure this one out, what happens after death, any more than you can stop it from happening. You need to recognize a higher power. And you most certainly cannot stop the current siege of this virus. In case you have noticed, it keeps changing. Perhaps you should put these words of scripture that are testifying to this global destruction under a microscope and take a closer look at what you are dealing with. This is from Elohim, and you are taking your stand against the Creator. And it would only get worse from here. In every province where the king's command and his decree arrived. And his decree arrived. We looked at the province, the decree of the law, the Torah, where it arrived. H5060, Nagah means to reach out, where it arrived. His decree, the words that are written in the scripture that are foretelling these things that are being unleashed now. And Nagah means to reach out and touch, where it arrived, or cause to touch, to apply, to approach. It means to come to. It arrived. It also means to be stricken and to be stricken of disease. It has arrived. It has arrived. That word there for Nagah also breaks down into an arrival of time and a timely fate. So we're talking about an arrival of time here. Everyone has knowledge of scripture, so that is everywhere else that was not mentioned in the providence there. Every place of higher learning, every elementary school where wickedness is taught early on. Open the book, you're under the curse. If you hear the word of scripture, Yahuwah, you're under the curse. Whether radio, TV, internet, anything, any writing reworded to sound like the king's word written in scripture, that comes under judgment too. That is arrived of time. It also, this word here, is arrived of a timely fate. A fate, something that is going to happen, the outcome of a particular situation. You know, Freemasons and every Greek organization out there, these are particular situations now people have taken covenants to be a part of now. Talking about fraternities and sororities, these types of things here and their drunken destruction. And every secret thing set up in the heart. Atheists and agnostics, comedians, it's not funny anymore because you're under siege. You locked down, your livelihood is taken, and the food supply is affected. You're frustrated. It has arrived. The word therefore arrived. Those were the surveys on those lines there. Here, in Devarim, Yahuwah begins the next line of survey here. He declares, until your high and fortified walls in which you trust come down throughout all your land. All your land. So we have to break this down now. These are high and fortified walls. H1364 was Gabor. It means to be high, exalted, and lofty. Okay, the verb likens to being lofty, and it gives two ways to be lofty. It means to be lofty of Yahuwah's ways in a good sense, and two, to be haughty, to be arrogant in a bad sense. Okay, arrogant means having or revealing an exaggerated sense of one's own importance or abilities. It is from a Latin word meaning claiming for one's self. Now, where have we heard that before? You know, if you said Christianity, you've spoken well. This is repeatedly done by every Christian preacher out there. You know, name one that has not laid claim to the promises and scriptures. These are high and fortified walls now that Yahuwah is going to tear down. We're going to look at how this thing is going to play out here. You know, everybody else is a copycat. They're doing the same thing. It doesn't matter which one of the religious organizations that they're in. They're all claiming something that is exaggerated. It is exaggerated. They're claiming the promises of Scripture. Arrogant. You do not have to keep the commandments, but you still claim the promises. You know, arrogant. It's the understanding of the word arrogant there. No judgment will come to me even though I follow the dictates of my own heart because I sit as queen. This is arrogant. You know, the understanding of the word there, high and mighty. This is understood better as it relates to the next word there for fortified. High and fortified walls. H1219 is batsar. It's a high fortified thing. It means closed off, cut off, made inaccessible, fenced in secrets and mysteries. These are things in the people's hearts now that they're lifting up. Defensive works is the understanding on the definition there for batsar, used as protection against attack. So these people are under attack by something and they begin to quote scripture. And here's a famous one, the Lord is my shepherd. You know, let me just stop you right there. Okay, before you lay claim to any more of those high and fortified walls in that verse there, you need to know that the word Yahuwah was there. So if you're not using the word Yahuwah there, that high and fortified wall is coming down. Can't apply it. Doesn't apply right there. Here's another one that they use in the Tehillah or the Psalms 34:19. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers them out of them all. He ain't gonna help you here. If you're not claiming Yahuwah, you can't lay claim to that high and fortified wall. It's not going to help you. It's tearing it down. No. Here's another one in Yeshayahu 54:17. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. They don't finish reading the verse here. They just tell you no weapon formed against you shall prosper. When you finish reading it, it says this. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahuwah. And their righteousness is from me, says Yahuwah. To finish off that verse there. And so he signs off on it now. So the Lord can't save you. You know, you can take it, you can spell it with a little L or a big L, however you want to do it. It's not going to matter. This virus is going to hit you and it's going to hurt. All the scripture that you are using cannot save you because you use it to testify against Yahuwah Elohim and despise his counsel because you make mention of another. As it is written in Yirmiyahu, can a virgin forget her ornaments, or a bride her attire? Yet my people have forgotten me days without number. He's talking about this Omer. It's judgment. It's time of judgment now. Go back through those scriptures and you read them. The Ruach HaKodesh came during the time after Adonai Yahushua came, but the rest of that verse was not fulfilled. There's going to be some bloodshed. All of that was not fulfilled. I'm here to tell you now, you need to put this thing under a microscope and take a closer look at what you are dealing with. It's going down. Your high and fortified walls in which you trust. The mark of the accusative is here. It's an understanding of life in which you trust. The lies that you received because you did not seek the truth. Come down throughout all your land. All your land. Yisrael. All that land. As a wave offering before Yahuwah. That word there for wave was 8573. It is tenupa. It is a feminine noun, and that means it's for everyone. The feminine noun here is a waving or brandishing of Elohim's hand. Weapons, according to his word. So there is going to be some destruction in the land, and it's going to be the hand of Yahuwah. This will be the wave of destruction that he performs when he tears down those high and fortified walls that false teachers and Bible-toting, Bible-quoting religious leaders use in trying to build up the confidence of their followers in the time of trouble. Here's how that word lines up in the text. Let's go to Yeshayahu 19. That's Isaiah chapter 19, verses 16 and 17. We see this here must be fulfilled now. And it reads, "And that day, Mitzrayim," which means the double straits, there's going to be double straits here, will be like women and will be afraid and fear because of the waving of the hand of Yahuwah Sebaot, which he waves over it. And the land of Yehudah will be a terror to Mitzrayim. Everyone who makes mention of it will be afraid in himself. So there's going to be some fear here. It's going to be in the heart because of the counsel of Yahuwah Sebaot. So we're going back to his word now. He put this under the microscope. Look at this thing real close here now. Which he has determined against it. He fed up now. You and Mitzrayim, double straits. 2020. Those types of straits won't ever be forgotten. So this is a judgment wave by Yahuwah Elohim here. This is a judgment wave by him. So in the book of Estar, there was great mourning among the Yahudim. Over in Estar, there was great mourning among the Yahudim because of these letters that were written. Some terrible things were going on then. And people were fearful in their hearts because of this thing had struck terror on the inside. So this terror is on the inside. Something's going on the inside. It's messing with the blood now. Same type of terror, even more pronounced in these days. That word there was Yahudi. Yahudi is the word there. And one of the main reasons for the judgment, they failed to recognize the praise of Yahuwah. It was the tribe of Yehudah. That's what they should have been using. That word H3064 is a term used after the captivity. Because they did not follow the commands of the king. They were mixing the truth with lies, and now it was catching up with them, and judgment comes out of nowhere concerning the letters of Haman, and begins to spread during these appointed times of the counting of the Omer. Now, as you go back and read the book of Estar, all of these things are taking place down there now. And these days are being numbered. They're being counted in the number. This thing just comes out of nowhere. Everything was just going fine until this hits the press. And now it's all you can hear about. And the next line of survey there, as we survey the lines, in Devarim, Yahuwah continues to speak, and he says, and also they shall besiege you at all your gates throughout all your land, which Yahuwah Elohim has given you. Which he has given you. So now this thing is global. Before it was just Israel, now it's global. It's going to get worse. It's global. If it can get any worse. In Wayikra, with the 2 lambs, we looked at those last week. They shall be Kadesh to Yahuwah for the Cohen. The 2 lambs, they were the evening and the morning prayers. We looked at, if you have not seen what Elohim had said concerning the 5th week of counting the Omer. Should go back and look at that. It explains the 2 lambs there. They shall be Kadesh. That word there, H6942, means to be separate. It means to prepare. It also means to devote as tabooed. To devote as tabooed was the 3rd definition there under Kadesh, the one that we are identifying with. Taboo is a social practice that is prohibited or restricted. So now we have prayers that are prohibited to Yahuwah for the Cohen. And this is why we see happening in the book of Estar what is written there. And here we see they were fasting, weeping and wailing, and many lay in sack and ashes. Sackcloth and ashes. They were the 2 lambs there. Sack and ashes. As we look at those there, it was sack and aphor. It means to be covered in darkness was the sack there. We went through this in the last video. Talks about worthlessness. The covering of the sack covers your understanding. You don't know what's going on now. You're covered in darkness, and worthlessness is the ash there. It is the ash. No one knows what's going to happen to them in the days or weeks or months to come. As it is in the book of Estar, so it is here now, as Yahuwah has seen fit to uncover this idut during this time. The threat of this death is causing many to fast, if not by prayer, then certainly by famine. As the cost of food is now on the rise, many are laying in sack and ash. They're covered in darkness. They don't know what's going on. Okay, and this is global now. Okay, going to talk a little bit about the sack and ash here. Everyone must have understanding of the light of the truth of Yahuwah to get into the Shemaim. Mordecai was trying to figure out what was happening, and so was many of them. And just like now, their livelihood was being taken from them. As when we go to the story, we will begin to see how this unfolds. And this is causing anxiety, depression, and dissension among the leadership. Striking similarities between what the tribe of Yehuda experienced then and what we are experiencing now, according to the word of Yahuwah in this testimony, this Edut, that very few people are taking seriously. The crimes that were committed by world religion, everyone has to answer for now. Convictions are coming down. They're being handed down. Convictions. Okay, let's look at let's look at the ash some more here. With the ash here, so that's not to be confused with Ash Wednesday. It is a Christian made up time to begin to count 40 days in order to recognize what their letters call a time of Lent. This is fraud and identity theft because they now reject the command to count the Omer, the one that was written in the scripture. The reasoning they have is to fast 40 days and get ready for Easter according to their own doctrine. This is what they've written. It's what they've written. This is part of the creed. The problem is Easter always falls after the Pesach. And they actually pray and give thanks that Easter is coming. It's in their prayers. Okay, this is aggravated assault. So their crime here is high. This is a sin punishable by death for, a couple of reasons. Well, one, they knowingly forsake the Pesach that is during that time, which is premeditated murder, by the way, because those people, the church, all of them teach people contrary to the will of Yahuwah, thus killing off the Pesach. Okay, because they don't do it. Them people, they don't do it. And the count for the Omer was for 50 days, not 40. The thing's just not adding up over there in Christianity in a number of ways. This is what's called an illegal numbers racket. That's what it is. Okay? Serious time behind this thing. Illegal. They start to count. Those people up there in the top line in Devarim there, the ones that's got you besieged now with all of this disease, those people, they start to count in February before the appointed time Yahuwah Elohim said to start the account. And they end the count during the time Elohim said to start. So they're backwards. They're backwards. Now, this is a clear ethics violations here that's going on. These people here, this is organized crime. And to answer your question, no, there is no Lent. It's not commanded anywhere in Scripture, nor is it found anywhere in Scripture. Many are following this. They are laying in sack and apher. Their understanding has been covered over in darkness. Now you're headed for some ashes. You're going to burn. You're going to burn. Darkness and worthlessness now. This is spiritual racketeering. Dishonest and fraudulent business dealings, plain and simple. The ash they use to mark on your forehead symbolize the final reality of their everlasting destination, the fire pit. And that goes for any and everybody following those letters written by the church. And that's every church. There are no exceptions. Everything written in there got to go. All of them. Lake of fire, the pit, is where you're headed. That's the kind of time that you're facing, convicted of the indictment of those letters. It's the kind of time you face, but take it seriously. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth because sin now has come to your knowledge. Yeah, you're clothed in sackcloth now. Darkness, all of Christianity is bad. Fake news. Yeah, that one. There is no truth to be found in it. Get out down. Now is the time to pray to Yahuwah Elohim. You need to think about what you're saying. and receive his instructions for your life. This is the time now. Immerse yourself by water and by knowledge of Adonai Yahushua HaMashiach. Everybody. Here's some more sack and aper, some more darkness and worthlessness. Islam is listed as an accomplice. They copycat. Islam is nothing more than Christianity dumbed down. They count 30 days for Ramadan. Illegal numbers racket again. Those people over there start to count during the Omer. Start counting Ramadan. They start late and finish early. That's lazy and cheating. To include murder. It's bad enough that Yahushua's name was replaced by someone named Isa. That's first-degree murder. It's first-degree murder right there. Them people over there, missed the mark and somehow managed to worship and follow Muhammad. This ignorance. The one who wrote and influenced the bad news found in Quran and the Hadiths. Letters of destruction is what there are. It's the reason why you're under siege now. That darkness and worthlessness. How do you miss following the one that did the miracles? This is also a clear-cut case of stupidity. Islam, that whole nation. Farrakhan, then they make the time, those people, they make the time of Ramadan a required time to give money. Requirement. Mandatory, get this, for spiritual reasons. It's called the zakat, meaning that which purifies. And let that sink in for a minute. You don't go on spiritual with this money. And you're right. This is extortion. It's extortion. To all the followers of Islam, they look, they really riding your donkey. They are really riding your donkey. They don't ride you in the dirt. You can be covered in ash. In some parts of the Muslim world, it is the state. It is the state and not the imams, their religious leaders, who receive the money. So we have here corruption of public officials. There's some serious crime going on here. Corruption of public officials. The state collects this money. And this man is required. And they say you have to do it to be saved. These two forms of Christianity alone have all the criminal activity of organized crime racketeering. Same thing. Islam is nothing more than Christianity with a different name. They do the same things. All of those people up there in Devarim, the beginning there where the siege begins, all of them, they do the exact same things. The Muslims know the scriptures better than they know the Quran. Your conviction's coming down now. They took the word of Israel and changed a few letters and called it Islam. Them people up there, and Devarim, the ones that besiege you at all your gates, everywhere you go to look for some spiritual guidance, you under siege. If you could get there now, judgment don't come down. Judgment don't come down. Convictions, it's all coming down. They lift up Ishmael instead of Yitzhak. They lift up Ishmael instead of Yitzhak. Now, for people don't know, that's Isaac. His name was Yitzhak, and that is the testimony that you should give concerning that story there. And we know that Yitzhak was the one chosen. Why they are lifting up Ishmael is, a question mark. And the question is, how can you be so close and yet so far away? Islam. You right over there in the land and still, can't get it right. Second April, darkness and worthlessness. Um, not going to make it. You're not going to make it. Okay. Also, the people out there that are following Judaism. All of those religions over there are not going to make it. Rabbinical Judaism is a shot in the dark. They're not going to make it. I don't know how you can miss so many important things and still have followers. These people here are supposed to study the scripture all the time, and they got it wrong. I don't know what they're teaching them over there, but Adonai Yahushua spoke very well concerning them. Don't follow and call anybody any kind of rabbi. Don't do that. It's not good. And to all of those people over there following Hinduism, I don't understand what's up with these animals that they worshiping, the monkeys and the chimps and the elephants, and the animals with human parts and animal parts tied in there together. That's just total darkness. Ain't nobody over there awake. And to the people following Buddhism, Confucius, you got that little man praying up there, but he got all of these wise thoughts. Look at what he's saying, and they can all be found in the Tehillah. All he did was reword the words of Yahuwah Elohim. That's what all of them have done. But this one here sets up in a meditating stance, and you've seen this guy sit up in a meditating stance, and the only thing that comes to mind is the fool has said in his heart, there is no Elohim. Yeah, that's what Buddha is. Don't want to follow those things. Y'all in trouble. You're on the ropes now. Amen. To the leaders and teachers of every world religion out there, in whatever form, you have been officially served. And any rights you think you might have to everlasting life have been waived according to the word of Yahuwah as shown in the surveyor's line, because you have assembled yourselves against him. And thus the wicked will do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand. However, if you are wise, now is the time to leave those false teachers and to pray to Yahuwah, to him who created life, all of it, including this virus. But if you do not, then you should brace for the impact, for destruction has been determined against you. And to the Kodeshim out there, time to go out to the battle now. Share this message with whoever will hear. For these words are trustworthy and true. Yahuwah be with you.